Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder when I drop my kids off at school and deliver an episode to you while I walk home. I'm Brendan Riley. Greetings, listener. It is a rainy Thursday morning here in Chicago. I've finished my Wrestling with the Rules episodes, and so I thought that I would today, here on the 3rd of May, take a couple minutes to update you on my gameplays. As I mentioned a few episodes ago, I think I'm going to do this about once a month, and other than my shooting from the hip or hot take episodes, which I guess I've used both names for the same kind of thing, where I do a quick review of a new game I've played, or a quick survey overview. I don't know why I keep resisting the idea of reviews, but especially because I just posted a review of Mythos Tales on Board Game Geek, but whatever. I'm a complicated man. Once a month, I'm going to do a kind of review of what I've been playing, as well as giving you my top of the stack for May and updating you on my top of the stack for April. Now, again, I will try to remember to mention this as often as I can. My beloved podcast of nonsensical gamers used this phrase first, or that's the first place I encountered it, was as top of the stack is 3 games that you have picked that are on your shelf of shame that you would like to get played before the end of the month. Now, I've been terrible with my top of the stack lately. If you go to Board Game Geek and you look at my geek lists, one of my geek lists is my top of the stack list for 2018. You can even look at my top of the stack list for 2017, and you'll find that I think since December, at least December, maybe October, November, I've had the same 3 games on my top of the stack. I keep trying to get them played, and I just haven't gotten it done. Well, this month, I moved the needle significantly, and I'm pretty proud of it, so I'm happy to share. So, but I'm gonna call that a teaser. We're gonna talk about top of the stack at the end of the podcast, because that's the way I roll. So I'll start with my 10 for 10 update. I am doing a 10 for 10 this year. In previous years, I've decided to do one and then not done anything with it. Like January 1st, I post, here's my 10 for 10. And then somewhere around October, I say, oh crap, I was going to do a 10 for 10. And I haven't played any of those games. So I'm going to try to do a 10 for 10 this year. I started it last month. I think I included in the podcast the episode, or the idea that I was going to start it. And so I'm following along with that and trying to keep track. So I have completed one of my 10 for 10, and that's Gloomhaven. We've now played it 12 times. I'll continue updating it on how many times we've played. Maybe I'll get credit for maybe if I get to 20 plays of Gloomhaven, then I get to remove one of the other games from the 10 for 10 that I'm not making progress on. That's a dumb idea, but I might try to do it if I get to the end and I haven't made them all. My other games are Stuffed Fables, which has not moved. It's still at 6 plays. Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is still at 5 plays. We did not get any games in April in, although we are scheduled to play at least one game on Sunday of this week. Libris is still at 3 plays. Century Golem Edition has gone from 3 to 7 plays. It's easy to get that game to the table and played. It takes less than an hour to set up, teach, and play. And for experienced players, it's half hour or less, maybe 20 minutes. So I'd be surprised if that game takes long to finish my 10 for 10. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me to finish it here in May. Terra Mystica ticked up 1 notch to 3 plays. I'm just going to try to get that played once a month. We should get in under the 10. Arkham Horror LCG is still at a 0. I've been meaning to pick that back up. I've been buying the data packs, or the whatever they call them, Mythos packs. And I've got a buddy who is going to play with me virtually on webcam, but we haven't arranged that yet. I might just start playing. We'll see. Matainai is still at a 0 plays since I came up with this idea. I really like Matainai. I just got the expansion that they kickstarted to sell out the rest of their supply at Asmodee Games. I get them confused with Asmodee. And so that just came in, so that might help get that back to the table. My daughter and I really like that one. It's fun, takes about 20 minutes to play, and it's super different every time. Really good strategy game. Roll for the Galaxy is still at a 0. That's one of my favorites. May have been dumb to put that one on here because my wife doesn't like it, and a lot of these games are really going to work best if I can get my wife to play them. And Via Nebula is still at a 0. That is a really good light Martin Wallace game that I think is accessible but interesting too. So I'm going to work really hard to get that one played. That might have to be a twice a month one if I can get it going. Got to get in the habit. I wanted to update you on a couple other games I've played as well. There were a couple other new to me games that I played this month. In particular, I've already mentioned or talked about Carnival Zombie and Crystal Clans here on the podcast. I did Shooting from the Hip episodes about Rex and Sagrada, but I also played Not Alone, which is an interesting little bluffing game, which feels like it solved some problems in a bluffing game I was working on, which may mean I don't make that game I was working on. We'll see. Potion Explosion, which I got during the crazy Amazon sale, and I had played before, but it was on my shelf of opportunity because I hadn't played our copy, and generally I have a rule that if I buy a game, I have to play it before it gets to come off the shelf of shame or shelf of opportunity, even if the copy I play after I buy it isn't my copy. I still have to play it once. So like, for example, Orleans. I played Orleans last year at Origins. I loved it. I bought it. We haven't played it since. It's still on my shelf. It's still on my shelf of opportunity. When I go to the game night, Toggle game night at Dirty Nelly's in Palatine every Tuesday, when I go there, at some point, they have a copy of Orleans. At some point, I'll play it with somebody. And then I'll count that as coming off my shelf of shame, even though I didn't play my copy of Orleans. That's just how I roll. And then finally, Empires of the Void 2 is the other new game to me. So lots of interesting new games this month. It's April, the time of freshly cut flowers and new games, I guess. You'll notice I left off the games from my shelf of opportunity, or my top of the stack for April. I'm just teasing you about whether or not I played those. We'll come back to that. I also did get to play a few games I've played before. I got on International Tabletop Day, I got together with some friends and I played Node, which was a small print run. I guess you could call it an area control game. It's just a light little card game, which ostensibly is themed around hackers, but it doesn't need to be. It could just be colors or abstracts. But the theme is hackers because, cyberpunk? I don't know. It's a cute little game. I did win that one, if I recall. We played Welcome to the Dungeon, which is a great little filler. If you haven't played that, it's a nice bluffing game. Will Wheaton has a game of it on tabletop, so that's an easy place to see how that one works. Let's see, I tried Race for the Galaxy again, which is an interesting game. I've played Roll for the Galaxy more, and that's a game I learned first. And I still like that better, because you're rolling all those dice. But, or as Rado in a recent video called it, rolling them space bones, which I love. But Race for the Galaxy is also pretty fun. It's basically the same game, just slightly tweaked, and the production and consumption order is different, which actually makes Roll feel really different than Race, because in Roll for the Galaxy, if you can manage to get someone else to pick production and you pick consume, then you can produce and consume in the same turn. Whereas in Race for the Galaxy, the consume round comes before production, so you can never consume something you produced on the same turn. Significant change. We also played Baron Park. I played Axis and Allies. We played Indigo, which is a nice little pattern game from Reiner Knizia. So those are the big gameplay updates. I wanted to talk a little bit about Mythos Tales. I believe I mentioned that before, but my wife and I finished it, which does lead to one of the big questions in this new era of exhaustible games, right? That we used to be inevitable that you either keep a game or you sell it. And part of the reason you would keep it mostly is because you think it's fun to play. There might be a game or two that you keep out of nostalgia. When my father passed, I found a copy of Who Can Defeat Nixon on his bookshelf, which is a board game about the Nixon re-election campaign. Like one person can be Adlai Stevenson or something. It's super weird. It looks like it's really Monopoly, but 1970s politics themed. Anyway, I have that for sentimental reasons. But for the most part, when you play a game, you keep it because you like it, or you get rid of it because you don't like it. But now that we've got these exhaustible games, we had Pandemic Legacy Season 1 as the first game like this for me, or the Exit games. What do you do with these games once you've finished with them? Especially the legacy ones where the game can't even be resold. Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. When I finish that, I'm going to keep it because I use it for my detective fiction class. But we also have this game Mythos Tales, which we just finished. I'm not sure what to do with that. I was just going to sell it on Board Game Geek. But my daughter said, Dad, can we hold on to that? I might want to play it with my friends at some time. I can guarantee you she's not going to want to play it with her friends. But, who cares? Sunk cost. Any money I would get out of it is minimal. So might as well hold on to it. But I am going to make her keep it in her room so I can clear the room off my game shelf. Haha. She can learn the pain of collecting. Okay. So Mythos Tales was a fun one, but is going to go out of the collection, or basically out of the collection. So the moment you've been waiting for, the top of the stack updates. So last month's top of the stack, I had 3 games. Alexandria, the game of the burning of the Library of Alexandria. I had Crow's Overkill, the game where you want to stay at a brothel all night. I know that's weird. I think I talked about that already, but what a weird theme. And then the third one was Ravenous River, the game based on the old riddle about a farmer with a fox, a hen, and a bag of grain. So I'm proud to announce that I got 2 of the 3 games played. Crow's Overkill, I believe I already reported. I played at the Bonus Round Cafe with a couple pals. It's an interesting little take that card game, which is fun, but not all that serious or interesting. I'm going to hold on to it. It was a gift. I don't know how often it'll get played. At some point I may get rid of it, but for now, it's a small box game, so it doesn't really take up that much room either. And then the second game is Ravenous River. This is a game from Isaac Shalev, who you might know from the On Board Games podcast. And like I said, this one is built around the old idea of the farmer, the animals. And basically in the game, you and up to 7 players are competing to put these animals on the boat. And at the end of the round, the animals that are on the boat get to go over to home where they earn points. But before any points are earned, all the animals that can eat one another do. And the animals earn points for surviving. So if a bull eats a horse and the lion eats a bull, the lion gets 2 points because there were 2 animals in the chain that got eaten. And whoever is controlling the lion earns those 2 points, plus 1 point for the lion surviving in the base, or 2 points if the lion was the one who got to the home. It's a cute little game, and once you understand how it works, I imagine it would play pretty fast. We played 1 game of it, which is enough to get it off my shelf of opportunity, but I only played with 2 players, and I think it's really meant to be played with more players than that. But it was cute and fun. It's going to stay in my collection. I'm gonna get it out again sometime when we have more people to play with, because it's easy enough to explain. It only takes about 10 minutes. So, Ravenous River, enjoyable. And then we come to Alexandria. Oh, Alexandria, curse you. So I've been planning to play Alexandria off and on for months. I will read the rule book and then not get an opportunity to play, and it'll be so long that I'll forget how to play. So I'll get the rule book out and read it again and get ready. And so this month I was going to, whatever it took, get Alexandria played. So I got it out, I read it, I reviewed the pieces, I made sure everything was punched and sorted properly so it'd be easy to start. I brought it with me to my game day on International Tabletop Day. We got it out to play and found that I left the rulebook on my nightstand. Yeah. So, we thought about downloading the rulebook and just working off of digital copies, but ultimately I was sort of like, nah, we'll play it again later. So Alexandria did not make it off of my shelf of opportunity. But ever the optimist, in composing my shelf of opportunity for this month, my top of the stack for this month, I decided, yes, Alexandria will get played. I put it in there. It's gonna happen. Then I added 1 other bigger, meatier game to the list and 1 small box card game to the list, because I actually have a bunch of those I haven't played, and they're relatively easy to get to the table. So the top of the stack for May 2018 is Alexandria, Unreal Estate, and Stronghold, 2nd edition. So I'm excited to try each of those. Alexandria, I'm chomping at the bit to get that played, but the others I'm equally interested in. And I assure you, it will happen, or you'll hear the funny story of why it didn't. So what's on the top of your stack? Pop over to our guild, 3269, I think. I don't have it written down here, but I think I've memorized it now, on Board Game Geek, or search for Pick Up and Deliver Guild, and you should find it that way. I look forward to hearing from you. I was thinking about how to try to get a few more listeners. It looks like we have 6 members of the guild now, including myself, which is a small cadre. Hello to you 5 listeners. Welcome. And the downloads indicate we have a few more than that, although I think 3 of them might be my own phones and iPods and stuff. But I'd love it if you're enjoying this podcast, take a moment this week and tell one other person about it. I'd really appreciate it. It'd be fun to have a few more listeners to get a little bit more interaction on the guild. This is a fun project just to do for myself, but it's nice to not be shouting into the void. So, well, that's it for me. It's rainy here, so I'm not sure how pleasant it was in atmosphere, but it was certainly pleasurable in the company. So that's it for me. I hope you have a pleasant day and that your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.